That's an easy night for y'all. Y'all come here and box me up real quick, probably clip me, then go home.
As a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity.
Jake Paul is sparring with Shakur Stevenson ahead of his upcoming fight with Gervonta Davis. To match Tank's size and skill, Jake has chosen Shakur as his sparring partner, aiming to sharpen his speed and defense. Having spent 5 years as a professional boxer, Jake believes this preparation will give him the edge he needs. Confident and determined, he plans to shock the boxing world by knocking out Gervonta Davis and proving he belongs among the elite fighters.
Prepare for, like you said, a guy who is shorter than you. How do you find a sparring opponent to replicate something that obviously, there's nobody else out there that's Tank Davis? How do you prepare for a guy that's different stature-wise?
Yeah, no, we have world champions. Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class. We got Montana Lovin. Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So
Wow.
Just sparring against guys on their level and people who have, been doing this their whole entire lives. But we're really focusing on speed and not as much on power. I'm not doing as much like weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to lose some muscle so that I have less weight and so that my punch.
Jake Paul has made remarkable progress since transitioning from social media to the ring. He has already secured multiple official victories, proving his improvement and discipline in the sport. Despite criticism, Jake continues to train intensely and aims to silence his doubters. His upcoming fight against Gervonta Davis represents his biggest challenge yet, and he is determined to shock the world once again by demonstrating how far his skill, power, and commitment have evolved.
World and even shock myself and show myself what I'm capable of.
When you picture how it goes down, is there something that you see yourself doing? Do you see yourself knocking him out? Do you imagine being victorious? And what would that mean for you? A guy, again, who has only been in this sport for a couple of years. You've turned it on its head. You've had a massive impact, clearly, in just a few years, but it's only been a few years. That's the bottom line.
No, exactly. This is my 5th year as a pro. And so I've had to progress faster than anyone else in the sport to be able to compete at this level and to be able to hang in there with these guys. But I do believe that I have the power and the offense to be able to walk Tank into a knockout like I've done with other opponents and set them up for it. And so I am fully confident in my ability, and I think it would be one of the craziest upsets in a long time.
Well, one of the craziest upsets ever, probably, in many people's eyes. Well, I think I saw Cardi B just put a $250,000 bet down. It was a parlay, I believe, on Aspen all over Cyril Gahn. But then for Tank to beat you, have you seen that? And what do you think about Cardi B potentially placing a $250,000 bet here?
I didn't know.
I just saw.
Jake Paul has recently added Shakur Stevenson to his training camp, a move that reflects his commitment to serious preparation. According to Paul, Stevenson personally reached out and offered to join his camp, which adds a layer of authenticity to his current phase of training. To mirror Gervonta Davis's quickness and southpaw style, Paul has surrounded himself with multiple skilled left-handed fighters. This diverse sparring setup allows him to adapt to angles, footwork, and counterpunch timing that resemble Tank's fighting rhythm. Paul's focus has shifted toward discipline, movement, and conditioning rather than relying only on raw power. The presence of Stevenson, an established technical fighter, adds professional polish to Jake's otherwise unconventional boxing approach, signaling his ambition to compete at the highest level of the sport.
All right, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're going to hit up Erickson Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just going to bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast.
Despite constant debates about celebrity boxing, the sport continues to hold its traditional charm. People still gather for major bouts, not just for entertainment, but for the nostalgia and respect that boxing commands. This upcoming match between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis has reignited conversations across all boxing communities. Brian Mendoza expressed that opportunities like these are part of boxing's evolution, If an athlete brings attention and generates revenue, then allowing them to compete makes sense. He pointed out that boxing is ultimately a business where attention converts to opportunity, and both men have earned their share of it. The bout has stirred discussions worldwide, keeping boxing relevant and commercially powerful in an era dominated by social media and short attention spans.
And it's crazy, but people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby.
You know,
I'm not mad at it.
For me, and I'm not mad at this move at all for Tank Davis, but I think when it comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. For an example, with football, we come from the hitting days.
Yeah.
Can't hit nowadays. You know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence. You know, they're trying to make it safer and all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore. But it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking, like I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh damn.
They're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate it a little more, because exhibitions have always been a thing. There's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, the more of a difference,
Right.
there might be less hate on it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world and the life of...
The sudden alliance between Jake Paul and Shakur Stevenson caught many fans off guard. Stevenson, known for his calm professionalism, doesn't typically collaborate with crossover boxers like Jake. Yet, this partnership demonstrates a rare fusion between traditional and modern boxing cultures. Observers have called it unusual, but both fighters seem to benefit. Jake gains technical expertise from one of boxing's finest tacticians, while Stevenson gets exposure to a broader, younger audience. Their sessions have been described as intense and focused, showing that even unconventional partnerships can create valuable learning experiences. The collaboration also blurs the line between entertainment boxing and elite-level training, marking a shift in how the sport adapts to modern audiences.
Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terrence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Boots is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. It's against a YouTuber, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly?
Since the announcement of Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson has been vocal about his thoughts. While some assumed his involvement meant support for Jake, Stevenson explained his stance more carefully. He viewed the fight from two sides, business and competition. From a business perspective, he recognized that the matchup could draw massive attention and revenue, something boxing promotions consistently seek. However, he also pointed out that it doesn't align with the sport's competitive purity. Stevenson maintained neutrality, acknowledging the benefits without discrediting Tank Davis's decision to take the fight. His calm and balanced response shows maturity, focusing more on the evolution of boxing than personal opinions.